Hello. Welcome back to The Devil on the G-String. We are dating Kanon now. Time flows on and the arena is still. A number of skilled foreign skaters came out on the ice and were bathed in applause. 8 p.m. rolled around. The last group of competitors took to the ice for a warm-up. The arena thundered loudly with applause as they skated into the rink. It seemed the audience went crazy every time Kanon stuck a dynamic jump. I was on edge. Mousetrap aside, I was worried about Kanon's health. She hardly slept due to taking care of me. Can she perform up to snuff when not at the top of her game? As I pondered this, I took a call from Usami.
そちらはどうです?
Seems good enough. If I didn't know better, I'd say everything's going smoothly.
おかしいですね。何か仕掛けてくるとしたら今日だと思うのですが。
Where are you, by the way?
西条の荷物を漁っていたところです。パスポートと航空券が出てきました。本日最終の便で海外に逃げる予定だったようです。
I see. That confirms he had something planned for today.
西条の協力なくしては成し得ない計画だったとしたら、魔王も今頃二の足を踏んでいるかもしれません。
Saijo had the arena ticket, right?
はい、ありました。今日のショートプログラムの観戦チケットです。
Sure enough, something's going down here today.
浅井さん、私はこの事件は。
The call ended before she was able to finish her sentence. My cell phone lost its signal. I'd have stepped outside to call her back, but all the entrances were congested by the monstrous crowd. Nothing I could do, I guess. Time simply passed by, and the growing sense of impatience within me seemed too crushing to endure. The situation turned out for the best, contrary to my earlier expectations. Nothing had come to pass. If I had to report something, it'd be that Kanon dished out another fantastic score. I almost collapsed from relief upon seeing Kanon standing safely at the arena's entrance. You'd have thought that my fever came back with a vengeance or something. No harm had come to Ikuko-san either. There was no problem at all. I drove Kanon back to my apartment.
兄さん、たった今だよ。おかえりは?
We came back together, if you haven't noticed. Kanon looks silly now compared to her bewitching aura on the ice.
風邪治ってよかったね。
Thanks to you. But don't use that as an excuse to get all cocky on me, you hear?
うん。のんちゃんのおかげだよ。兄さんが今生きてるのは。
My fever wasn't that bad. How much? I gave Kanon that glare she thought would kill her all those years ago.
100億万円です。
No, seriously, how much did you shell out for the aspirin and the hot water bag? Just give me the receipt. We'll be squared away in no time.
レシートなんて捨てるもん。
What? You idiot!
兄さん面白いな。
Listen, you need to start holding on to your receipts. Besides being good practice, it'd probably make you realize just how much money you've been wasting.
ほー。
I took out 10,000 yen from my wallet as I clicked my tongue. Here.
おー。兄さんが大雑把に1万円くれるなんて熱でもあるんじゃない?
I did last night. Take it.
受け取らないと兄さんは納得しないんだろうな。ああ、ネクラだな。
She pulled the money out from between my fingers, grumbling all the while. I'm sorry. I really am.
何が?
Well, I was just worried that your short program might suffer because of me.
気にするな。結果が全てだ。これパパリンがよく言ってる。
get to sleep early today. I reclined on my sofa and turned on the TV. Upon switching to the sports news, I saw Kanon smile behind a microphone.
明日もこの調子でいきます。
The famous athlete on the screen used a totally different tone from my sister.
のんちゃん大人っぽいな。
Kanon watched the interview with me and commented on her television self. Judging by the video alone, Kanon seems like a mature adult woman. After Kanon, Seta Makiko came up to speak. Her petite, charming frame suited television interviews nicely.
カノンさんに追いつけ追い越せで頑張りたいなと。皆さんの期待に添えられるよう明日は全力を尽くします。
She sounded like a voice actress in an anime. She was a small girl and seemed to be quite likable. Hey, Kanon, what do you think about her saying that? Kanon's eyes widened.
瀬田さんファイナル残ってたんだ。
You better not say that in front of other people. Though Kanon doesn't mean anything by it, people would think she's ridiculing the girl.
いや忘れてた。そっかそっか。そうだったね。
You don't even follow the other skaters, do you?
瀬田さんもやるね。今日は62点か。
I watched people cry when you got a 70.3.
罪深いですな、のんちゃんは。
Why is she so laid back? However, when the replay of her program started running, Kanon's eyes changed.
遅い。遅すぎる。
She's glaring with hatred at another self. Despite having such a high score, she's still not content.
目線がふらついているのは睡眠不足が原因かな。
She kept her voice low. I'm so sorry. Really, I swear.
今日は寝るから大丈夫だよ。
Alright. She's kind of scary. I turned off the TV, pretending that I hadn't noticed.
やっぱりのんちゃんは悪くないな。
About what?
今日コーチにね、ヒルトン先生じゃないよ。なんかね、スピンの時もっとエッジをフラットに使って回転を速くしたらって言われたんだけどね。
Yeah, and...
曲に合ってないんだな。ちょうど曲が穏やかになった時のスピンだから、そんな超スピードで回んなくてもいいんだよね。
I don't really understand what you're getting at. Did you mess up?
微妙にね。違和感だったね。すぐ持ち直したけど。あれなかったら、あと1点は伸びたね。
You'd better listen to what Mr. Hilton says. Ikuko-san isn't your coach.
ごもっとも。でも、のんちゃんは正しかった。
There seems to be discord between Ikuko-san and Mr. Hilton.
でね、兄さん。
She looked at me seriously. What?
あんまり気にしたらいけないんだろうけど。
Is this the follow-up of yesterday? I want to be your partner.
それも気になるけど。
Kanon spoke with a little bit of irritation and a little bit of sadness.
コーチ、命狙われてるの？
I don't know how to answer. What does my face look like right now, I wonder? At the very least, I doubt I look relaxed. What danger? I turned the question back with a reluctant smile.
やっぱ冗談だよね。
I'm not really sure what you're getting at. What's wrong?
なんかね、演技が終わって帰ろっかなって時に、コーチが真顔でそんなこと言い出したの。
That darn woman! It must have been some horrible gag.
ちょっとびっくりした。
I wouldn't worry about it if I were you.
なんだろう。のんちゃんが不機嫌そうだったから構ってほしかったのかな。
Yeah, that's probably it. Why? She shouldn't disturb her daughter, even if it really were only a joke. I knew she was self-centered, but to think she'd go that far. Alright, let's take a bath. Today is special, so I'll wash your hair for you. However, Kanon's face was still full of suspicion.
パパの部下みたいな人がコーチの周りにいるのもそうなのかな。
Huh? Is that what got you thinking your mom's life is in danger?
だってパパ怖い人でしょ。拳銃持ってるの見たことあるもん。
But why would that mean Ikuko-san's in danger?
でもさ、スケートも人気だからさ、たまーに頭のおかしい人から事務所に脅迫状とか届いたりするらしいよ。
So, those are jobs for the police. Is Papa a policeman?
違うね。そっか。じゃあなんでもないか。
I was way too close for comfort. A chill ran through me when she said threat letter. Don't think too much. Just prepare yourself for tomorrow and everything will be fine. Her face simply didn't seem willing to accept it.
そうだね。今さら他のこと気にしちゃダメだよね。
I didn't fail to spot the deep sadness in her eyes.
これは冗談だけどね。たとえコーチが死んじゃっても気にしちゃダメだよね。なんちゃって。
Kanon's face suddenly took on a ghostly power. It was a face of anger, a face of despair, a face that overwhelmed me entirely. The girl before me is a girl who lives for skating. Kanon always corners herself into that role, it seems. And when she does, I become the prisoner of that unstable region of her heart. I want to be your partner. Kanon.
どうしたの？真面目な顔して。
Right back at you. Don't look at me like that.
そんな顔？なんで？別に普通じゃない。
Her voice lays the blame with me.
だって誰も本当のこと教えてくれないんだもん。のんちゃんはスケートやっていればいいんだもん。みんなスケートやれって言うんだもん。兄さんすらやれって言った。
I look at Kanon, shocked. A doubt flows over my mind. Yet I speak without hesitation. So the truth is, you don't like skating? Kanon's eyes are filled with hatred.
好きとか嫌いとかじゃなくて、やるしかないの。
She stares at me without any movement whatsoever.
この話はおしまい。明日はフリー。ただ勝つ。それだけ。
She lays her words on me syllable by syllable, trying desperately to suppress her pain.
兄さん、もう余計なこと言わないでね。
She continued in a soft-hearted whisper.
兄さんが悪い。のんちゃんは悪くない。
Although her Ride of the Valkyries may not have been playing, Kanon was no longer in my room, but upon the ice. She's only my sister in name. This moment has forced me to take a good, hard look at the girl I've ignored until now. I felt that she was pitiful. Me, of all people, feeling pity. And the chronic headache which had plagued me for so long left, as if it had never been there. Kanon had always been cold to her mother, Ikuko. She had no idea when she began to feel such discontent concerning her mother. For all Kanon knew, her heart had been dead since she entered adulthood. For whatever reason, her mother simply seemed abnormal to her childish mind. She was just too beautiful and obsessed with keeping up
お
appearances.
母さん、パパは？
Nan-chan was not supposed to know.
のんちゃん、 スケートは楽しい？楽しいでしょ？大勢の人が喜んでくれるものね。お母さんもとっても嬉しいわ。だからのんちゃんはスケートのことだけを考えてればいいの。
でもみんなパパがお家にいるよ。
のんちゃんはみんなとは違うの。特別な子なの。だって見てごらんなさい。のんちゃんのお友達は氷の上で飛んだりできる？
できない。
Children are sensitive to lies, and Kanon was a particularly sensitive girl. Thus, even at that age, she understood that her mother was hiding something from her. Her mother's surname was Kyousuke, so why was her surname as I? However, though their names may have been different, Ikuko had doted on Kanon far too strongly for Kanon to see her as a complete stranger. Ikuko gave Kanon everything she ever wanted, from lovely dolls, to the latest video games, to adorable clothes which
カノンちゃん
any
の
of
ため
Kanon's
なら
friends would envy.
何でもしてあげる。お金なんて後からついてくるのよ。私もそうだったから。
Kanon quickly grew tired of it all. After winning various competitions as a child, she soon discovered a fundamental truth about human nature, that getting what you want isn't as satisfying unless you earned it yourself. Her wish for a father was finally realized after receiving, and while she was still in grade school, no less, a special invitation to compete in the Japan Championships on a senior level. Until that point, she had been competing in the novice A-lists, not even at the junior level. Despite being unable to bring home the title, her papa had stroked her head kindly at their first encounter.
これからは俺が面倒を見てやる。何でも言え。母親が嫌なら変えてやれ。
Although Kanon did not understand her father's words, she was relieved to know that she too had a father. For the first time, she felt glad she started skating.
お母さん、パパいたよ。
そう、
褒めてくれたの。
そう。
As she watched Kanon laugh and dance, Ikuko bathed in discontent. Go yourself, she muttered under her breath. Hearing her, Kanon's heart froze once again. Kanon's day-to-day of the life of skating rolled ever forward. Ikuko was extremely kind. She detested coaches who swore at their athletes, and she cared for Kanon as well as she could. It had reached the point where Kanon had started to consider Ikuko's instruction to be nothing more than flattery. But even still, for the sake of victory, Kanon was expected to give many more times the effort than anyone else. In order to maintain her weight, her lifestyle was harshly controlled. She would stay awake the whole night beside the sleeping Ikuko watching recordings of her performances. When her first menstrual cycle came, she gained weight and had trouble managing it. It was only after seeking help from a sports medicine expert at prestigious university that she was able to rebuild her physical condition from the ground up. Behind all this torturous training, though, Kanon maintained her smile for the media, taking time out of her schedule regularly to mold her image as the genius skating girl.
もうお母さんが教えられることなんてほとんどないわね。
Ikuko eventually retired from the ice. She stood beside the rink as a stranger, occasionally pointing out small mistakes. Officials from the International Skating Union wanted to separate Kanon and Ikuko. However, a change of coaches was never enforced, due in part to Kanon's strong opposition to it. And yet Kanon had no memory of ever opposing such a thing. In the end, Kanon's full potential remained underutilized until the famous coach George Hilton confronted the International Skating Union on her behalf. She may have gotten by in the novice and junior list using only her natural talent, but the senior level, with its many great experienced skaters, was more competitive than Kanon could have dreamed. All responsibility fell into Ikuko. After last year's fiasco, Ikuko's coaching ability was called into question.
ごめんね。私でごめんね。
The mother would often apologize to her daughter.
私が全部悪いのよ。カノンちゃんは何も悪くないからね。
Officials and sponsors from the event, reporters, agents, school teachers. She beseeched various people in various fields. Ikuko's position as Kanon's mother was a small one to begin with, but she had been demoted even further to the level of just a coach. Yet, at the same time, Kanon's arrogance continued to swell. Kanon knew she was being arrogant, but could do nothing about it. Like a rebellious child who wants to kill his parents but knows he can't actually do it, a tiny devil was planted within Kanon's heart. And as it grew, that Mao of the ice closed the doors to her heart with hatred, endlessly repeating her mother's words.
悪くない。
That's right. After all, who'd ever want to submit to anyone? At last, Kanon fell to the plotting demon. Time stopped. There was no pain, no fear. A triple less than a triple total. Her double triple was a surefire way to score well. Yet it was not the outside edge of Kanon's right skate that collided with the ice, but her back, which hadn't come crashing down since her collision last year. Strange, Kanon thought. Why is there no applause? Why am I in such a position? Why is the music leaving me behind without my permission? The Lutz is considered a particularly difficult counter-rotated jump. That was exactly why Kanon had practiced so hard on it during training. She trained until the height distance ratio of her jump was perfected. She continued training until the audience connected as Kanon herself with the triple Lutz. That very jump, which should have been the celebratory champagne for her glorious victory, betrayed Kanon in the 11th hour, a mere 15 seconds into the free skate. I can't win. Oh, Liz. She fell on the ice and interrupted her performance. She'd already lost many points. With programs as precise as a machine, a single loose screw could cause total collapse. Her victory was long gone, the triumph that was so easily hers. Who was it? Feelings buried in Kanon's heart bared their fangs. Who was to blame for this? After all, Nanchan did nothing wrong. No. I flipped open tonight's newspaper. They too made Kanon's disappointing performance out to be the scoop of the century. I couldn't tear myself away from the television or internet that night. If Kanon had merely fallen down, it wouldn't have been an issue, but she stopped and stared at the ice for a whole 12 seconds. Even I'm wondering why Kanon failed to stand up again. It's not rare for a skater to fall down during a competition. They make an adjustment and continue their program, no matter who they are. Heck, if they only fall down once, they still have a shot at the goal. However, Kanon continued beyond the regulated free skate duration and skated overtime. She caused quite a ruckus amongst the spectators and not in a good way. Cold eyes poured on Kanon from every direction. I understood the reason after listening to a television interview.
やる気ありましたよ、もちろん。
Numerous shining floodlights, numerous waiting microphones welcomed Kanon as she left the arena.
だから同じこと何回言わせるんですか？
Kanon pushed the reporters away without even an attempt to hide her displeasure.
コーチがイクコさんが命を狙われてるって聞いたんです。それで動揺してちょっと道開けてよ。
This is terrible. Someone wants to kill Ikuko? Who on earth would believe that? The cops might mount an investigation for good measure, but Gonzo will keep the truth well hidden. After seeing this report, Gonzo must have burned the threat letter.
ファンに失礼な演技。あ、そうですか。それはどうもすみませんでした。次にご期待ください。
At the end, she covered the camera with her hand and cut the picture. This is bad. Mao didn't make a move today. The conflict between the Soniyama group and the Shin-A group ended this morning. I felt a streak of good fortune coming on, but I guess I jumped the gun a bit with that analysis. The image of Kanon on the screen changed to something else. It was the winner of this year's Grand Prix of figure skating, Seta Makiko.
この1年間本当に辛くて、世界大会で皆さんのご期待を裏切ってしまったから、
She took a moment to cry, overcome with emotion. Seta gave a solid performance today and jumped from her 4th place spot after the short program to first place.
今日は本当にありがとうございました。それだけです。
She showed no sign of acting solely for the television. She gave off nothing but a brave and hard-working aura. The contrast between these two girls will be great for the media. Kanon's coach Hilton refused to comment on her performance today. Why, then, did Ikuko come out and speak shamelessly?
命を狙われてるって、いいえ、そんな。それは軽い冗談のつもりで。
This worried me.
はい。カノンに代わって皆さんにお詫び申し上げます。
She bowed down her head and apologized to everyone honestly. It's what she's gotten used to doing. But the fact that she added on Kanon's behalf annoyed me, because I knew the truth. I received a call at that moment.
こら京介
What? I'm in a bad mood.
叫んだばろ今日のあれなんだ
I don't know.
今ネットも炎上してんよみんなカノンの後に W つけてんよカノン様 WWW だよこの意味わかるか
More or less. Ichi, this is bad news, man.
なんだ命狙われてるってゴルゴかもうちょっとマシな言い訳あるだろうが
I know, right? Look, I gotta go.
とりあえずカノンに伝えろてめえは次の全国絶対優勝しろってな
I had totally forgotten. Ichi's saying that if Kanon wants to skate at Worlds, she needs to win at the Japan Championships. And since she lost the Grand Prix, she would have to beat the second place skater by a large point margin to feel secure in her position. If she doesn't compete in the World Championships, she'll be ineligible to come the next Winter Olympics. Kanon has already reached her prime skating years, so the upcoming Japan Championships will decide her whole career. The door squeaked in protest, and the most talked about girl in Japan entered my room. Hey there, you're pretty late. Did you eat dinner?
いらない。
She pouted.
何？
Apparently she doesn't like my stare. Kanon averted her eyes and headed for the bath. A few short moments later, I heard the sound of running water. 5 minutes passed by. 10 minutes. The bathroom kept silent other than the sound of the shower running. I heard sobs over the water every now and then. The bathroom light never once turned on. Kanon must have been devastated. I was shocked upon seeing Kanon walk out of the dark bathroom. What the heck, Kanon? Put some clothes on. You'll catch a cold. Her long, wet hair clung to her hips. Water droplets glided against her full figure. With a tormented face, she looked at me like a ghost. Her voice was hoarse.
嫌い。兄さんも。のんちゃんが嫌い。
Oh, I appeased her with a shake of my head.
嘘つきだと思う。だって、本当だもん。本当に命を狙われてるって言ってたもん。
Fragile. That skating star in the ice had vanished.
転んだのは負けたのは理由なんて見当たらないもん。それ以外に信じて兄さん。
Only a desperate, love-starved girl stood before me.
みんなのんちゃんを利用するの。お母さんは自分の見栄のため、お父さんはお金のため、テレビの人も企業の人もみんな今までずっとそう。
Tooth-thin lips continued to move silently.
誰ですか？私は。
Like a robot doll with a loose screw, she talked more and more slowly. She spoke in a soulless, broken manner, but I understood her. Please save me. Surely there's some gentle person out there, someone who can warm my heart. I saw my past self in her. When I was frozen in a broken house far in the north, I had wished for the same.
兄さん。
I know, my emotions for Kanon are more pity than love. And pitiful it is. I'm among those godless fiends who use Kanon. But in the end, Kanon has no choice but to rely on us heretics. And devils can save people too. Just like that snowy night when Gonzo saved me. There are people out there who can't wait for Providence to extend a Holy Savior's hand. I thought over what I was about to do. Even heretics have some pride. Very well, I decided to take responsibility. I answered Kanon's request by reaching for her cold skin. A week passed. There was but one more a week before the fateful Japan Championships. Kanon silently continued to practice. On the other hand, I attended school as usual, keeping myself busy with the Zai Corporation matters. The night Kanon and I slept together almost seems like a dream. We're acting so casual about the whole thing that I can't help but wonder if it was just my imagination. Still, Kanon doesn't seem to have any regrets about it. She's back to her old smile and as selfish as ever. I promised myself that I would come to understand her, even if I was the only one. I see. Mouse kept quiet.
ええ、ばったりと活動を停止しましたね。
Oh, poor Kanon. I spoke to Asami between classes. You think Ikuko's television antics have made him extra cautious? I mean, she addressed comments about being marked for death.
それはあるかもしれませんが、それにしても別の手段を講じてきてもおかしくはないと思うんですが。
Yeah, well, from the very beginning, we never knew what his true motives were.
また私の仲間を陥れようとしていたのかと考えていましたが。
There's been absolutely no word from him. Well, if something were to happen, it would happen during the Japan Championships.
それもどうでしょうね。
I can understand why she'd have her doubts. Look, the letter was aimed at bringing down Kanon. Last week, she was completely bested.
ええ、脅迫状の内容から判断すれば、魔王の目的は達成されているのかもしれませんが。
But it doesn't add up for you, does it? With a desolate face, she responds.
勘ですが、もう何も起こらないような気がします。
Why?
ですから勘です。強いて言えば、もし私が魔王で本当にカノンを破滅させたいのであれば、この1週間を無駄にはしなかったでしょう。
Fantastic. Shouldn't you be happy?
ですね。浅井さんとももうお別れですね。
Huh? She started her crazy talk again.
魔王が消えれば勇者も旅立つものです。
Yeah.
浅井さんにはカノンがいますしね。
What?
これも勘です。
She smiles peacefully.
ユキほどではありませんが、私もこと浅井さんに関しては鋭いつもりです。
Yeah, cut it out. You're giving me the heebie-jeebies.
さーて、午後の授業が始まりますよ。
Usami leaves me and disappears. What's up with her?
陽介、最近カノンはどうよ。
I want to tell you. Come on, man. You know as well as I do that she's been practicing.
ほら車のメーカ
I
ー。
don't know what to
カノ
tell
ン
you.
と契約打ち切るって。
Yeah, I guess they were acting in their own self-interest. After Kanon got such a bad rep from the media, I guess it'd be a natural response for a business.
どいつもこいつもクズばっかりだよな。みんなして手のひら返しやがって。
They aren't necessarily fair-weather fans. When you're popular, you're bound to make a few enemies.
カノンはよ、確かに根は極悪な女だよ。何度も俺を怒らせたよ。そういう本性を見せちまったわけだからな。
What about Seta?
わかるだろ。人気急上昇だよ。昨日の特番見たか？やっぱり最後は努力した人間が勝つみたいな泣ける話だったぜ。
Well, she probably did work hard.
ぶっちゃけファイナルのセタはすごかったぜ。NKH 杯でダブルだったジャンプをトリプルに変えてきた。
マジで優勝狙ってたんだな、あのモヘコ。
Makiko? What?
ネット上じゃみんなそう呼んでるの。燃えるじゃん、あのキャラと声と。カノンは女王様みたいな扱いだったけど、今じゃひどいもんだ。
The situation has completely reversed. I heard Kanon was dropped from a Christmas variety show. Supposedly Seta took her place.
とにかく世界記はもうセタみたいな動きになってるのがうざいね。
Yeah, I read an article a while back that bothered me too. Some sleazy magazine went so far as to call Kanon the shame of Japan. All she can do is try to win the Japan championships, right?
つーかそれしかねえ。2位に大差つけて勝てば誰も文句は言えねえから。
We both let out a sigh. Class resumed that afternoon. However, I was reading an autobiographical essay rather than a required textbook. One written by Ikuko. There was an ad for Ikuko-san's surefire way of improving your bust, sprawled conspicuously over the front cover. It was called A Proposal to Figure Skating, the book supposedly about the inner mechanics of the industry. It touches briefly on the treatment of coaches and judges, the state of the current skating union, and her personal experience as a skater. Pretty cheap overall. First off, she bragged far too much about overseeing Kanon's growth as a skater. It made the book seem more like an outlet for her loneliness and lingering attachment than anything else. The whole spiel came across as whining rather than actual criticism. For example, let's take this excerpt, the book's closing statement. I realized my lips were quivering as I read it. Even so, Kanon's chan says she'd like to glide by my side. As both a mother and a coach, there is no greater honor than hearing these words. Publishing this book crushed what little positive reputation she still had, as it should have. The only problem is that people have begun to expect the same from Kanon as from her mother. I can't help but wonder why Ikuko won't hold back, for Kanon's sake if not her own. My mother had it rough, yet she protected me despite that. Ikuko-san enjoyed a good measure of popularity during her bout at the Olympics, so why did things turn out like this? Suspicion over Ikuko's change suddenly filled my thoughts, and without an ounce of coincidence, a certain man came to mind. I believe that concludes this week's report. The dispute with Shine had been settled by the cession of most of their allotted business turf to the Soniyama group. I was tasked once more with handling the formalities, acting as the voice of the Zai Corporation and a conduit through which to convey Gonzo's authority. Gonzo nodded, looking somehow discontent.
Kanon wa dou da?
He suddenly sprung this question. As you know, her agent has informed us of a great number of cut contracts. Gonzo tilted his chin upward, as if he already knew all there was to say.
あれはもう終わりか?
Surely not. I immediately denied it. Success is many parts timing and luck. I believe abandoning our investment in Kanon after a single loss will be unwise.
ただ負けたわけではあるまい.
Well, I faltered.
カノンも随分とふてぶてしい女に育ったな。
I hang my head, holding back my feelings. Feelings of sympathy for Kanon, contempt for Ikuko, and anger toward Gonzo, who molded Ikuko into the person she is now.
それで京介。
Gonzo's mouth curved into a devious smile.
カノンを手なずけたか?
I remember Gonzo's words. How am I supposed to respond to a scoundrel who demanded I sleep with his daughter? Yes. All I could say was that single unpleasant word. May I ask you a question, Father? I prefaced my next words with a little submission. What kind of person was Ikuko-san? I miserably sputtered that question before Gonzo's glare. His gaze clearly seized through my anxiety, Well, naturally. He crafted me to feel that way. He responds with indifference.
イクコは真面目でけなげで何より努力家だった。容姿人格ともに素晴らしいアスリートがなぜ俺のような極道に惹かれたかわかるか？
I silently shake my head.
女は好奇心からたやすく悪を受け入れるからだ。
With those words alone, I no longer wanted to envision how Gonzo had dropped her into the pits of hell.
分かったか京介。容姿のいいメスがいた。種をつけた。生まれた子供は金になりそうだった。
It seemed as though he were challenging me to reprimand him. It appears that Ikuko-san resents you.
だろうな。
She seems to believe that she was once a popular athlete, bathing in the limelight.
俺につままれたせいで人生が狂ってしまったな。
Gonzo hangs his head as though he were trying to endure something. My eyes shot open in surprise at his dark laughter.
そうだな、京介。すべて俺が悪いんだ。
He was proud of it.
それでどうやって俺を叩き伏せる？どうした？目の前に分かりやすい諸悪の根源がいるのだぞ。
He demonstrates his defenselessness by sticking out his chest and lowering his outstretched arms.
さあ、殴れ。お前は正しい。暴力を許す自己の正当性は十分だ。俺のせいでお前の妹が愛情に飢えているのだからな。
I didn't even clench my fists. It was a testimony to my complete lack of fear. I felt nothing except the futility of competing with this man's moral code.
まったく笑える話だ。男に捨てられた程度で歪んでしまうような己など最初からなかったも同然ではないか。
What a tenacious monster. Gonzo is basically saying that injustices are valid against the weak.
いいか京介、お前も俺の息子であるならば常に悪を受け入れる覚悟をしろ。たとえそれが身に覚えのない悪であろうと決してわめいてはならん。
Yes, sir.
カノンも俺の娘だ。それに気づけばまだまだ勝ちは望めよう。
No one can change his way of thought. I leave Gonzo's house at the conclusion of his lecture. Crazy. Bye.